I got a hand plane. Hello and welcome to my shop, such as it is. I purchased myself a hand plane, and I hear you asking why. I am definitely going to need to finish wood. I have, if nothing else, this cherry that I dimensioned down. It's because some unevenness and the saw marks, and this is going to have to be smoothed before I can use it. I cannot justify the expense of a jointer or a planer right now. So I thought I would give this a try. But there's another reason, actually. I've watched a few woodworking videos where the woodworker is using a hand plane. And they're going through this very smooth kind of regular motion and pulling off these lacy, ephemeral bits of wood, strands of wood coming up, sheets actually of wood coming off. And I'm chasing that experience, for lack of a better way to say that. I've used planes before, my dad had a small block plane that I could never get to work right. It either wouldn't pick up wood or it would just jam down in and not go anywhere. This is not a particularly expensive plane. It was on sale for $30. Feels pretty solid, to be quite honest. I don't know if this is going to give me the experience that one of those $300 planes would, but I'm going to do my best to get me that if I possibly can. And I'm going to do that, that was poorly said, I'm going to do that by prepping this plane. I've been watching a bunch of videos on how to prep new planes. They are not actually ready to go out of the box. At the very least, you have to sharpen the iron, the blade in them, if nothing else. But there's a variety of other things that I've seen some other woodworkers say that you should be doing with a new plane. So let's get to it. Definitely need to work on getting a better camera set up. All right. Let's get this thing open and see what we've got going on here. This is a jack plane. So named presumably as it's a jack of all trades. Got some user instructions here. Blade sharpening, quick tips for best results, product care. And there it is. Yes, you may or may not be able to see this thing. It's just smothered in oil. That's actually the first step, is to wipe off the excess shipping oil. It's packed that way so it doesn't rust in transit. That's a little rough done, I think. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of white metal with a little bit of a smoothing on it. I don't know if that's going to matter or not. So, I forget the name of this piece. I was just watching videos. All right. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Let me go get a screwdriver. Loosen that screw up a little bit. We'll slide. So now a lot of the videos I've seen tell you to slide the chip breaker to the side before taking it out so you don't hit the edge of the blade. That's the blade, or the iron. This is the chip breaker, which sits on top of the blade. And basically the job of the chip breaker is to peel away the wood as it's getting cut. The wood tends to want to ride up on the blade and kind of force the blade down. The chip breaker grabs that wood and splits it and lifts it up so you get those curly cues coming off. Wow, this is definitely oily. The blade is sharp, but not sharp enough to use. So we are definitely going to have to sharpen that a bit, and I think I know how to do that. Correct angle for grinding, 25 degrees. Manufacturer actually recommends, so this primary bevel here should be 25 degrees, but a lot of people recommend making a secondary bevel at 30 right off the end. And this applies pressure and holds the whole thing in place. Obviously, we've got the two handles for moving it. This adjusts the blade alignment. Paradoxically, it actually shifts the side that you're pushing towards. Let's see now. I think we can... Do we want to take the frog out? Ooh, this is really oily. I don't want to spray it down with like WD-40 or anything. Because that will leave it open to rust. Now, one of the videos talked about kind of rounding these edges over, but I don't know, these almost feel like they've got a little bit of a chamfer on them already. One of the things all the videos have talked about is inspecting the mouth here. It needs to be square, especially along this edge here. And you want to check for burrs, which it feels like there's just ever so slightly a bit of a burr along that back edge there. One of the other videos also suggested lapping this, which I think I'm going to do. And I think lapping this will take care of that burr. So let's do that first. Oh, actually, the video that I read said you should lap it with everything in. So let's do that. So that goes like that. And the chip breaker is going to sit right behind the blade like that. And there should be no space between them when it's in place there. Actually, it should be sitting just up like that. I'll have to double check, but oh, there are some burrs along there. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know what the camera's picking up. You can see right along that edge, it's a little rough and burred. I definitely want to smooth that out. I'm still kind of figuring all this stuff out. Ah, see, that's how that works. That's how you make that adjustment there. To make sure your blade is centered, and this goes on like this. That, and we want the blade all the way up right now. We don't want the blade protruding through the bottom while we're lapping this. And there's also an adjustment wheel back here that will let you dial this whole assembly in and out. I got a lot to learn here is what I'm saying. A lot to figure out. I don't know, that's still protruding. I don't want to lap that with that in there. I don't know how that other guy lapped his thing with that in there. So we'll lap it without. I don't want to risk dulling that blade down at all. Yes, it's a pizza stone. It's the best I could do on short notice. I have adhered some wet dry sandpaper to it. The idea is you just get the sandpaper wet, put the wet dry on, and go back and forth a bunch of times. So let me get some water. Sadly, I do not have a faucet down in my cellar to use. Come on. There we go. But a pitcher of water works just fine. And I'll get a better stone for this. Get a piece of marble or something I can use. And the other thing I've seen recommended, and this is a common practice when it comes to woodworking, is to pen mark all across the bottom of this. And that way you can see as you're lapping if you've got any high spots, and when the pen is all off, you know you've got it properly lapped. So this is actually kind of big for this, but here we go. Whoops. Ah, see, some of it's coming off in the center there already. Which suggests maybe that center was a little bit higher than the front and back. Which is not good. Yeah, see? Got the center area here that's clear, but we've still got pen up in there, so we need to take some more off of this. It's okay if the perimeter is a little high, but you don't want the center to be high. Actually, apparently some planes are made to have the perimeter high. You know what? I'm going to get a clamp and clamp this down. So I can use two hands on it. There we go. And make sure I'm getting even pressure. Okay, clamp. What was that? No, that was the rubber boot popping off the clamp. All right, maybe I'll use two clamps. You know, it's entirely possible I may go through all of this work and still not have a good tool afterwards, which would lead to some real frustration on my part. I don't know if this really matters, but I mean, I don't know if it's actually not smooth enough to have worked anyway. It's possible it is. It's possible it's not. It's possible it would have been just fine if I just sharpened the blade and gone with it. But I want to do all the things that I can to make sure I have a good experience with this. I am chasing after that experience, like I said. Now we're getting there. A little bit more back here and up here. Make sure I'm putting pressure evenly. Hey, this feels nice in the hand. It's nothing like having a really quality tool. And maybe this isn't as good quality as some of the really, really expensive ones, but it feels pretty good to me. All right, get a little bit more water on here. I'm also going to have to come up with a system for keeping the blade sharp. noticing this and this. I'm wondering if there's some unevenness in the surface. Let's try and compensate for that. This is 1000 grit I'm using in the middle here. I mean, it's possible those are just low spots in the whatever you call the casting there. I haven't memorized all the parts yet, okay? Cut me some slack. See, there and there are still showing as high spots. So I don't think it's the paper or the pressure I'm applying. I think those are just low spots, and I think I just need to keep going until that marker's all gone. I definitely don't want to half-ass this. Sorry, I switched to a lapel mic, a cordless lapel mic, because the sound quality in the videos hasn't been great, and I genuinely didn't really think that anybody was going to be watching them. I was just kind of posting them up there for fun. But then lo and behold, all right, we're getting there. Then lo and behold, my second and third videos each had 200 views. And then the following ones had like 90 views, 70 views. And you know, I am genuinely surprised and humbled that this has actually gotten any traction. I haven't put any keywords or tags in the videos. I haven't posted about them on social media. And yet somehow like 200 complete strangers found me. And, you know, they're not all sticking around, but that's pretty normal for people to come by and check out a channel and watch a couple of videos and then, you know, not watch again. I picked up, I think, 3 new subscribers to the channel, but I just, you know, for the few dozen of you that are sticking out and feeling like it's worth your time to hang out with me while I work in here, like, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Ugh. Almost there. I probably should get a proper lapping stone and do this again at some point. But I think this will be good enough for now. If I can get all of that off of there. Well, that is just not... I'm getting there. Like, the spots are getting smaller. But it's taken a while. So this is 1000 grit. This is 2500. So I'll hit this after I'm done with this to kind of finish it out. Probably should go up to like a 6000 grit or something like that. But I don't have any proper lapping stones. This is temporary measure. Slowly getting there. You know, what if I turn this around? I could step down to the 800 grit. Maybe I should have started with the 800, huh? Let me do full, make sure I'm getting all the way. Maybe I'm not coming far enough. to really get those spots properly, huh? Slowly getting there. Get some more water on here. I want to make sure I'm still smoothing the thing all at once too. I don't want to focus on those low spots to try and grind ink off. I want to make sure that I'm doing the whole surface together so it's all going down at an even rate. Oh, almost there. Areas are much smaller. Just need to keep at it for a while. That's all. The trick of this is keeping up some kind of banter so you're not just sitting there staring at me doing this over and over again with no communication. Oh, speaking of the sound, you might hear this soon. I'm working in my basement, as you might be able to tell from looking at my shop. And we have a central heat, which is firing up right now. And there's, it's March. There's nothing I can do about that. It gets cold. We're in New England. Which is part of why I went with the lapel mic, the Lavier mic. So hopefully, I know that noise is intrusive in my other videos. But like I said, I genuinely didn't think anybody was going to be watching them, because it's not like I posted them or anything. I just threw them up on YouTube. Not like I shared them on social media, or like most of them don't even have descriptions in them. So I wasn't super concerned about the sound, but now that I know some people are watching, I would feel not right if you're making the time to hang out with me and not trying to give you better sound quality. Oh, so close. One little spot there, one little spot there. And I don't know how different like a real high quality $300 plane would feel in your hands. This feels like a nice piece of equipment to me. Like some of the construction I can see is maybe not as refined as one of those others might be, but this feels really good. Frog, the iron, the chip breaker. Is it just called a tensioner? Are they listed in here even? Plate sharpening, brass adjusting nut. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't remember what it's called. I've heard them mention it in the couple of videos that I've watched, but I don't remember what they called it. This is called a frog, not because it looks like a frog, apparently, but because the gap in the center of it, like down here, reminded people of a horse's hoof. That little cleft in the back of a horse's hoof. Apparently there's a French word for that. That is spelled something like frog. Sorry, just knocked my camera over. bucket of water. Apparently there's a French word for a horse's hoof that's similar to the word frog. And that's why that's called a frog. That's what the guy in the video said. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just passing along what I heard. Plausible. Sounds like something that could be true. Almost there. Just got to stick with it. See, this is the kind of thing I haven't always been patient about in my life. Like this kind of thing where you just have to stick with it and stick with it and stick with it until you finally got it right. And it just takes patience and time. Something I'm kind of looking for, I think, out of all of this. Slowing down, becoming patient. Like one of the next projects I have coming up, first like really big project that I'll make a video, at least part about, is I'm building a new coat rack to go by our back door kitchen door, which is the one we use most of the time. Because I don't like the one that's back there. It's just got hooks. And we have a lot of jackets, and it just ends up getting jammed up. And I wanted to replace it with something that's got a bar going across. So we can use like coat hooks, coat hangers for the jackets, and those would be easier to get to. And the plans for it are pretty simple that I came up with, which I'll share when I do a video about it. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of joinery, a lot of lap joints in particular. And I'm going to have to make it one joint at a time. Like that's how the building process is going to be. Not complicated. They're simple joints, but I want to make sure each one is done exactly right, so it fits perfectly. So each joint is going to take careful measuring and careful marking and a rougher cut, and then a more refined cut, and just kind of slowly creeping up on it. So I don't overshoot it, but that way I'll have it exactly the right thickness. Okay, a little addendum here. As I probably mentioned in the first part of this video, I got a lapel mic to try and give you guys some better sound quality, which absolutely seems to be doing its thing. Unfortunately, it stopped working partway through the video last night. I don't know, maybe the microphone wasn't fully charged. They're wireless, they're Bluetooth. I have a wired one, but I felt like that was kind of dangerous. Maybe not dangerous. There's a likely chance that the wire could get hooked on something spinning and fast and get ripped apart. Anyway, because of that, you all are not going to see me spending an entire hour with this thing last night trying to get it working, only to have it still not really work. I mean, I got close. I did manage to pull off a few fine shavings here. But so far, no joy. So I'm going to go back to trying to make sure this is properly sharp. I do have some sharpening stones, some diamond stones, and some finishing whetstones coming in today, I think. So there'll be a part 2 to this. I'm going to go back and resharpen this blade and redress the edge of the chip breaker, maybe even redress the edge of the Heavens, I forgot what this is called again. And I was just watching videos last night. Anyway, I've been watching a bunch of videos on troubleshooting hand planes. I will get this thing working at some point. Anyway, stay tuned for part 2.